friends. I just am doing my evening routine. I'm trying to sort of multitask by recording a little bit while I do that. I am armpit shot. You're welcome. I was just reading through comments on my latest video where I was talking about the anxiety that I'm dealing with, and I want to say a couple of things. I have like so many things, and I'm like, how can I consolidate all the things that are in my head? I still feel very out of sorts. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a weird period of time, but I guess we all go through those, some kind of transitions and stuff. Because I guess I am still kind of transitioning into this job. And in fact, today I found out that on my latest dispatch, I'm going to be delivering in what is normally a time that I would be sound asleep. And I know exactly what happens when I do that. When I try to flip my sleep schedule, it causes a type of anxiety that prevents me from having normal sleep leading up to that. So I will have disrupted sleep both before and during the event, and I already know that, and I'm like, how can I best, keep my mind calm to just prepare that I'm going to have a few days where I don't feel well, because my side effects that I experience from like changing my sleep schedule usually ends up in feeling depressed and some heightened anxiety, but more depression. I don't like to say it that way because it sounds like clinical. I don't mean it like that. I just feel extra out, like down and out of it for a couple of days after that. So it's going to be a hard week ahead, and I just have to accept it and do my best to move through it gracefully, because that's trucking and that's reefer, and I knew there would be times like this. So I have to just do my best to think as positively about it as I can, and then try to manage my schedule around it. I wanted to say that when I use the term anxiety, I'm not referring to something like generalized anxiety disorder. I think it's really important that when people talk about mental health, I think a lot of times people misuse terms, or not always, but sometimes people are like, oh, I'm ADHD, and it's like, that doesn't mean that person has had a diagnosis with a professional. It doesn't mean that it's an actual condition that the person experiences. It can mean that it's just something that we throw around in our lingo that sort of takes for granted that there are real complexes of symptoms involved in these types of disorders. So I'm not trying to say that I have an anxiety disorder. When I talk about having anxiety, I don't think of myself as a person with anxiety disorder. I think of myself as a person who tends toward anxiety, if that makes any sense. Like, I think I have really good coping skills that I've developed over time, but I've been this way since I was a little kid, and it was a lot worse when I was younger, when I was a kid. And because, like I've mentioned, traumatic things, I was kind of always in fight or flight until I was pretty much until I was around 30. And then the period of like crisis during and after the time of my divorce, that sort of like was like restarting a clock of sorts, relearning how to cope, because I had to cope with the hardest thing in my life at that time. So that's the long story short. I also want to say that I struggle with how to talk about things like food and nutrition, because that's also a difficult subject for me. And someone who's a regular viewer and commenter who I like and appreciate took the time to write a long comment, and I read it and I just deleted it because it was kind of a rash thing to do maybe, but it just was like, I can't receive this. Like, I can't have this, because it's hard for a lot of people to maybe understand if they haven't experienced something like an eating disorder or compulsive behaviors and thoughts around food or exercise and stuff like that. But for those of us who have had those experiences, and in my case also having had a person in my life for a long time who endlessly harangued me about literally everything I did, from my eating habits to what I read to my job to whatever it was never good enough. And so whenever someone tries to help me, or in my mind help me with my diet or anything like that, I tend to shut down. I am almost 45 years old. I spent almost a decade counseling other people on how to improve their own health. I spent a lot of time reading and researching during that time, and before and after that time, about food and nutrition. So I'm not saying I know everything. I'm saying that I have a very comfortable understanding within myself of how I eat and what I eat that's not helping me and what is helping me. And I prefer to not receive counseling from others on that. And if I did want to receive counseling from others on that, I would probably seek out a very specific type of person. I don't know if I should keep talking about that stuff on my channel. I'm just trying to share the reality of like what I do to get through my day, you know, but I'm not seeking advice. So I just want to make that clear and say, like, no disrespect if I like delete a comment or something. It's my psyche that I'm contending with, and it's not meant as a criticism of the individual. Sometimes I just need to I need to handle things how I handle them, I guess, you know, it's not personal. The other thing I just want to say is I'm just so bowled over by the thoughtfulness of the comments I receive, and I'm just so grateful for the really great people I have watching my channel. I'm not trying to pander. I just am really appreciative of the fact that people take the time to comment and that they're so kind and thoughtful in what they have to say. And also there's I think there's a growingly diverse group of people that is commenting, and I love that. That's super cool. I feel like trucking YouTube can be a little bit, there's a lot of sameness within like the tone of channels, and I think a lot of the type of comments that come through and stuff like that, and I really like that there's a little more to what I'm receiving from my viewers. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. Thank you for the thoughtful feedback that you guys give, and thank you for watching and encouraging me along. And I think too, what really means a lot to me is thank you for giving me space to be myself. When I'm emotional, people have positive things to say. They're not like, well, I did have one time a long time ago, sometime last year, where someone kind of chastised me for being emotional, and it really affected me when I read it. It really like upset me, because I wanted to be like, you don't get to tell me how to express myself on my channel. You know, I was kind of like, okay, how about no, you know? It's a weird thing when you put yourself out there and you are vulnerable. A lot of times there's people who maybe are not that comfortable in their skin where they would be so vulnerable, and when they see someone else being that way, it can be sort of off-putting to them. And we're all just coming to this with our own. I certainly have a lot of baggage, and other people have their baggage, and other people have their like opinions. You know, we all can only bring to a situation or a platform what we have experienced. So I try not to take things too personally, because you guys are only seeing what I share with you. It's not necessarily the full, complete picture, although I really do try to be as genuine and transparent as possible, because that's partly just who I am as a person, but it's also that I want to give you guys an authentic view of the experience of this crazy ass thing that I have decided to put myself through. So I really appreciate too the different comments about different types of trucking. Someone said, come over to the dark side, flatbedding. And I'm like, bro, I think about it every day. Someone also mentioned tanker. I've been thinking about tanker. I have more I want to say on all of that, but I'm going to hold off for now. So I just want to say thank you guys for being great people watching, giving feedback. Thank you for taking the time to give feedback. If you haven't already and you have something to say, why not say it? I try to respond to as many comments as I can, because I feel like if you take the time to say something to me, I want to take the time to acknowledge that you did that and that you actually watched a video by a stranger on the internet. So that's all I got. I'm gonna continue getting ready for bed and plotting out my trip I'm delivering in Boise on, notice I said that correctly, Boise, because I always thought it was Boise, and then on one of my podcasts I heard someone got corrected. It's Boise, FYI, if you didn't know that. So I'm planning my trip and trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to flip my sleep and recover from that. Who knows, maybe every time I bitch and moan about something, it ends up getting changed. So maybe I should do that, because it tells the universe, like, I don't know, maybe that'll just flip things for me. You never know. We're getting off to a weird start already. I'm at this huge complex of dairies, and the address I was sent to is up this hill, but from the street level I can't tell if it's truck friendly, and I'm pulling forward and I'm seeing a car, like a car lot. Okay, there's trucks, and I don't see anything that looks like my company's trailers. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but basically like all these buildings around me, that's all dairies. So it's this is a common thing when you're doing a specific type of commodity like dairy, where you get sent to this industrial area that's usually owned by, I think, like one company, or like probably two subsidiaries of the same conglomerate, is that the right word for that? Mammoth company. And you have to figure out which building you're going to, and it's not always clear. And the truck GPS just kind of takes you to like it might take you to like the office. So that's not where I'm trying to go. So hopefully I will figure out where I'm going. Hello again. Well, you might notice that I'm sitting here and not driving the truck. And that's because I decided it would be a great idea to run reefers. I did finally find where I was going, and the funny thing is it was somewhere that I had totally been before, and I recognized it as soon as I got there. And I'm like, I think I had to have come from a different direction the last time I went there. You know, I didn't recognize where I was until I was like right on top of it, and I was like, oh yeah, this place. I was supposed to be there for a drop-in hook, but the guard notified me that they were way behind and he had no idea when my trailer would be ready. By the way he was talking about it, I had the impression that it could be like much of the day. So I was like, you mean like it could be end of day, later in the day? He's like, possibly. And then he tells me, these guys were really nice, the guard shack. They expressed the appropriate amount of compassion, which I always say this, and some people in trucking are like, you know, we don't have feelings. Yeah, you do. You just express yourself in anger only. It really matters a lot when someone at the guard shack is delivering bad news to you, but they're doing it in a compassionate tone. It means so much to know that they understand that what they're telling you is really affecting your day and affecting your income and all that. So yeah, this trailer's not even ready. And then on top of that, it was supposed to be delivered in Idaho Thursday at like 11 p.m. and now I'm like, well, that's probably going to be out the window because I'm losing a day of driving. I messaged my dispatcher about it and she was like, I'm going to get on it right away. But I mean, she does do a good job of trying to go to bat for me, and I think that she will probably compensate me somehow because I won't be eligible for detention pay, because that's only if you have an appointment time, you show up on time, and then after 2 hours you start getting paid detention if you've been waiting that long. This is the kind of stuff that made me think, you know, people warn me about reefer because of this kind of stuff. It happens all the time. It's not like it's just happening to me, it's happening to a lot of drivers. How many other drivers are going to go there today to pick up a preloaded trailer that I actually saw my empty trailer? I saw my preloaded trailer sitting in the empty area because it hasn't even gotten into a dock yet. So they're still several loads behind. They're still loading other trailers that are in the line before the one that was supposed to be ready for me. And what's funny about that is in the tablet, it said, what was the early time that it said I could pick it up? 4:15. It said it could be ready by. So imagine if I had gotten there at 4:15, I would have wasted even more time. I would have gotten less sleep for no reason. And there's a phone number that you can call, and it says for updates on load status, call this number, and here's the extension, but no one answers the phone. And that's what they told me at the guard shack. They were like, hey, you can call, but they're so busy in there. He kind of just shook his head like they're not really going to answer the phone. So the only way to know when your trailer is ready is to hang out there and watch the row of trailers and watch and see when they bring that trailer and put it in there. And I was like, I'm not going to sit in this gravel lot and wait all day. So I came back to the truck stop that I'm saying what I'm grateful for. The truck stop is 1.5 miles away. It's a newer Love's. It's a really nice one. It's very clean. The employees are very nice and attentive. So I'm grateful that this is here. I actually did a decent workout here last night, and I don't have any shower points right now. I used the last one, the only one I had last night, and I don't want to spend $15 on a shower, but I really do. I might end up exercising and it's humid and gross outside, so if I do, I might end up biting the bullet and paying for a shower. I don't currently need enough fuel. Yeah, I'm checking out another driver. What's it to you? That's why I keep looking over there. I'm like, oh, hi. I realize that if I fuel enough in the next, I've got 10 days left in this cycle at Love's. If I fuel enough times at the Love's, I think I only need another 170 gallons. Then I'll get unlimited showers next month. So now that I'm paying attention to that, because I thought that was a thing, and then I got a message from a friend. It was like, oh, you know, if you do this, I was like, oh, I forgot all about that. So that'll help. That'll help a lot, not having to worry about whether I'm gonna need to pay for showers or whatever. I'm just trying my best to not let myself get down about all this. So I guess that's enough. I'm trying to kill time because I'm just going to be here all day. It's 7 in the morning right now, and I've been up since 3:45, ready to go. And I showed up at that drop and hook all in this happy mood, and I got deflated real quick. I actually had to cry. I cried in front of one of those guys, and I'm like, I don't care. It's just, you know, it's okay to have feelings sometimes and let people see them. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter, you know. Whatever. overdressed for the party, the drop and hook party. It's always interesting too when, on the very rare occasions when I have full makeup on a trucking day, the looks that I get from people are interesting. And normally I wouldn't wear eyeshadow like this. I would do a subtler look. I wouldn't be wearing eyeliner, maybe not even mascara, but I just got this new Dark Matter palette that I completely didn't need because I hardly ever wear makeup, but I'm obsessed with this makeup company called Melt Cosmetics, and I pretty much buy there's a lot of their stuff I don't buy because that's totally unjustifiable, but for some reason I can justify buying more eyeshadow palettes. I have stacks of them and I covet them. I will seriously just open them and look at the colors and think about different fun things I'd like to do with them. And it's my joy. It's my childhood self relishing in the hoarding of way more makeup than I actually use. Although when I was bartending, I used it every single shift. I would do a different fun kind of look and customers would get really geeked, and I'm convinced that I made better money a lot of the time because there's this funny thing where people appreciate that you put forth the effort at the artistry. And that's why when I see any type of cashier or employee that's at a casual service type job, but they have bomb ass makeup, I'm like, your makeup looks good, because I know that it's an expression of their own joy and creativity. That's what it's about. So there are a lot of misconceptions about why women like me like to wear makeup, and let me just assure you that it's for me and my own enjoyment primarily. It's my little girl self out in the open for everybody. That's really what it is. Although when I was a little girl, it was like blue eyeshadow and red lipstick for sure. There are pictures to prove it. I know my mom is gonna see this. Hi Mom. And she will be sitting there laughing and nodding. And by the way, when we laugh, we have the same exact laugh. So hear this, she's laughing at the same time. It's an echo, it's a double laugh. Anyway, see, I feel a little happier now just from putting on a little makeup for no reason, just for fun. This little happy feeling is gonna wear off pretty soon because I'm just gonna be like waiting and wondering, and I'm like a mile and a half away from where this drop and hook is, but I'm not gonna keep calling when there's no one answering the phone. I'm not gonna go over there yet. I think I'm gonna wait until maybe, like, he said it could be afternoon, so I'm gonna wait till probably noon. It's like a little before 9 now, and then I'll probably just go over there and hang out there and edit video and stuff while I wait. So making the most of a stupid day of not trucking.